It takes little to no effort to grab my attention and ultimately sway me to be your spouse. Did you say hello every day for a period of 4 years when we were locker buddies in high school? Did you ask me for a pen to sign our divorce papers? Did you tell me that my hair looked good roughly 6 years ago when I was out hiking with my dog, only to never see me again and for me to not even know your name? Chances are you felt my affectionate gaze upon your bosom. The first woman that you meet in fall into Vegas is Sunny Smiles, and she is an absolute bombshell, so it only makes sense that I'd want to wipe her up and steal her from her dog. In this video, I do just that. Get on your thigh highs because we're gonna make Sunny Smiles love me more than I love femboys. In order to get our relationship started off on the right foot, I named myself Allie after one of my ex-girlfriends, and make myself look like a master of moving my tongue back and forth in a rapid succession. Doc Mitchell, looking handsome as ever, guides me over to a joystick and I firmly grasp it with 2 hands while I play with the tip to determine my stats. I end up with a strength of 7, endurance of 8, and luck of 8. Hopefully Sunny Smiles will think that I'm the most attractive woman with beefy biceps, and completely look past the fact that my charisma is slightly worse than a paper plate. After that, Doc Mitchell sets me down on the couch and causes me to reveal the fact that I might be a psychopath, before I ultimately decide to go with survival, science, and repair for my tag skills. Surely she will appreciate my ability to survive in the wasteland and won't have to teach me any basics like how to prepare healing powder. One thing that might make me slightly less attractive to a bachelorette such as Sunny is the fact that I do a significant amount of chems, and that their duration lasts twice as long. On the bright side, the same applies to medical marijuana. I guess you could say that I'm skilled at milking the system. Before leaving the hospital that I found myself in, I loot all the needles and supplies that I could get my grubby little hands on. Notable items include today's physician, several doctor's bags, and numerous chems that'll make even Elvis jealous. It is just after this encounter that I hear of a legend that already begins to make my thighs quiver. Miss Smiles is certainly a woman that I want to meet. With hardcore mode enabled, I step outside to be blinded in Fallout fashion before grabbing a few supplies from the Yeehaw robot that rescued me. Feeling a little bit thirsty for more than just Sunny, I grab a few Sunset Sarsaparillas before chatting with Chet and selling any gear that I didn't want from DLC. I won't lie to you, Chet has always been attractive to me, but he really feels like the type to have 7 families and visit them on each day of the week while leaving no time for his side piece. One thing that my lust for Sunny Smiles is already making me realize is the fact that I am a rather competent thief, and that my desire to steal other people's possessions is rooted from a deep-seated childhood trauma from the complete lack of having things growing up. Sunny seems to realize this as she hands me a rifle, complete with ammo. In a way, she may be offering a physical possession, but in the end, I was gifted with a new friend, something so much more powerful. The real reward was the friends that we made along the way. Unfortunately, she didn't love me like I loved her, and I still needed to prove myself. With my massive honkers and veiny biceps, I put down numerous geckos and ripped their flesh from their bodies in hopes that I could form an edible arrangement. I was unsuccessful, and this ultimately resulted in the demise of a somewhat innocent woman who wanted some water. Sunny tells me that I am moderately attractive, but that she would only date a woman who is into botany. They asked me if I was into botany, and then I told them that I was willing to bottom any. Picking up a spare shovel, I head over to the graveyard where I get my butt handed to me by several bloatflies. I've never died to a bloatfly, but just know that this was possibly the closest that I've ever come to doing so. This almost reminded me of the time that I was hit with the question of how many 5th graders do I think I could take in a fight. I then proceeded to spend roughly 10 minutes in deep thought, with numerous facial expressions that caused the person asking the question to never speak to me again. After another 10 minutes, I came up with the answer, 38. After being sure to grab the snow globe from Mr. House's collection and the pretty flower to secure my chances of getting laid, I ruthlessly killed some coyotes that were walking their child that they had just brought home from the hospital. They hadn't even come up with a name yet. I would say that I'm morally ambiguous in most contexts, but I think grave robbing certainly makes me feel worse than the time that I ghosted a girl on prom, like I did these rad scorpions. Over at the Devil's Gullet, I ended up picking up Black Widow. I think that this not only reflects the fact that I swing both ways, but it'll ensure that the lesbian love is even hotter because I'll be more straight than gay. Feeling slightly sad that I didn't eradicate the coyote's grandparents, I decided to return to their home and brutally murder everyone inside, including 2 other children that look like the runt of the litter. You know that that coyote had a tiny hole because not 1 but 2 of the children turned out smaller than my left areola. I should definitely go get that checked out. Before that though, I need to go check out the schoolhouse where I can find Xanderroot to please Sunny even more. I even step inside in hopes of finding a honeymoon present. Fortunately, I found a stealth boy in a super stim pack, so I'm sure that she'll be pleased when I let her live instead of me when a band of super mutants attacks us. Heading over to Chet to make a few more caps, I return to Sunny to impress her with my botanical expertise. She seemed pleased that I was able to make a powder that can heal her lacerations from my whip, but to ensure the safety of our future relationship, Barton Thorne must die. It turns out that he bullied her back in 2nd grade, and as a man playing as a woman, willing to do anything to get to the love of her life, murder was not off the table. When he mentioned that he had a stash up on the mountain, I knew that I needed to change gears a little bit. To achieve this goal, I had to kill several young geckos before brutally murdering Barton Thorne as he walked mysteriously towards me, almost as if he had a similar plan all along. With many of Sunny's tasks completed, I felt like I was closer to her embrace than ever before. Unfortunately, yet another thing stood in my way: Joe Cobb. It turns out that there's a man in the gas station by the name of Ringo who selfishly doesn't want to die by powder gangers. Because of this, I steal not only his deck of caravan cards, but also anything that isn't nailed down inside of the gas station that he has clearly made home for himself. Sunny, being the strong, confident woman that I always knew her to be, looks deep into my passionate eyes and tells me that she would be willing to run away with me if she could live through this encounter in service of the debt that she owes me for killing Barton Thorne. I enlisted the help of Trudy, Chet, and Doc Mitchell so that we could stand off against the powder gangers with ease. After watching one episode of My Little Pony during the bloodshed, I talked with Ringo and looted various bodies. One thing that I personally like to do is take one ear from all of my enemies. I wish I could say I do this for some specific reason, but I really just love the way that they look in a jar. Confessing this to Sunny somehow does wonders, and is exactly what I needed to push her over the edge and be willing to come into my arms and reach a non-contact climax. The 2 perks that Sunny and Cheyenne give me are as follows. Sunny gives me an increase of 10 survival, and having Cheyenne increases my charisma by 1. Not wanting a 4-legged companion to interrupt the bumping of the knees, Sunny and I set off into the wasteland to bring upon Cheyenne's demise. This ends up taking us over to Gene's skydiving, where I managed to loot various things, including a mysteriously placed Sunset Star bottle cap. I'm sure that there will be no lasting consequences from doing this, and that I won't have to murder somebody because they come up and awkwardly talk to me. With several long and sharp objects, I skewer the powder gangers outside before looting their bodies for more explosives. The folks nearby suffer a similar fate before I end up crafting more healing powder and gecko steak at a campfire. My new girlfriend is impressed, but we have not met anything so far that would be strong enough to kill a dog. Even geckos from a nearby mountain were not enough to overpower that absolute unit. Hearing of several armed gangsters at the town of Prem from an NCR trooper, I knew where Cheyenne's fate lay. I disarmed 3 landmines before throwing myself headfirst into a firefight. Cheyenne, the dumbass that she is, rushes forward even further and ultimately dies within 30 seconds. As someone who lasts no more than 20, I am slightly impressed and seriously consider reloading a save. Because for whatever reason, this is the first playthrough in forever that I don't save compulsively, Cheyenne is dead forever. The bloodbath continued with the true love of my life at my side. Like Joker and Harley Quinn, we laughed as we massacred before I leveled up to level 4 to grab, you guessed it, Radchild. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But I'm not expecting different results. I loot Cheyenne's body for a little bit of supper before sneaking inside the sheriff's office to break down some ammo and pick up the cowboy repeater underneath the bed. This takes me over to Johnson Nash, who sells me various skill books, as well as a room for Sunny and I to make out. Sunny, are you ready to peg me?
Say no more. I'm in.
Hello there.